everyone. A very warm welcome to another exciting episode of Psychology Talks. And today we're going to discuss about how you can create influence. Influence is somehow sometimes taken in a negative way, but influence is sometimes you need it because when you're creating a community or when you're leading, you are supposed to create an influence. You are supposed to lead people who are willingly following you. So that's how we, and what are the dynamics you need to do, and we're going to discuss today in this show. And that's why I have invited one of the most amazing personalities who have created a huge impact on LinkedIn, on social media, and all around the world. And today we're going to discuss that what is the secret, that how he created such a huge impact. And his name is Brian Schulman. He is the 9-time best-selling author. He is an international speaker known as Godfather and pioneer of LinkedIn videos, and one of the world's premier live streaming and video marketing expert. His insights and two global award-winning live shows have been featured on NASDAQ, Forbes, Thrive Global, Yahoo Finance, and many more. And number one best-selling book syndicated on Smart TV network and hundreds of shows and podcasts reaching millions of people worldwide. And among his many awards, honors, and accolades, Brian has been recognized and LinkedIn Top Voice, LinkedIn Video Creator of the Year, 3 times top 50 most impactful people of LinkedIn out of almost like 1 billion people. So, and there are so many amazing achievements that he has. If I keep on telling you right now, it will take at least 10 more minutes. So I think let's welcome him and let's hear from him directly. Hello, Brian. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Ambreen. It's so good to be with you today. Thanks so much for having me.
You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you today with us. And I am so curious that how you actually created the impact. So we're going to talk about it. But first, I've given a little bit of introduction to our audience to, just give them a little idea that who are you. But of course, your journey is an amazing journey and you have lots of achievement. So I think I would ask you first that take us through your journey and tell us about yourself, that from where you started, how you got into it, and what was your journey like.
Sure, I'm happy to. And I'm wearing SnapCam filter right now with my LinkedIn glasses.
Yeah.
The problem is I can't actually see what filters I'm playing with, so I'm actually going to try and take this off real quick, just so that everyone can see me. So just bear with me.
Sure.
That's not it. All right. Hang on. Okay. Well, that's better. Sending love out to each and every one of you. And again, it's just so wonderful to be here. And Breen, I'm honored, my friend, to be with you. So thank you for asking me to be here. So in answer to your question, I hear all those accolades and I kind of go, wow, I'd love to meet that person. That's pretty incredible. I don't ever go, yeah, that's me. King of Community, on LinkedIn, named by Forbes, and all these other amazing accolades. I think the important part is really looking at where it all started. So really, who am I? So I'm going to actually do this in a special way. One of the 9 best-selling books, actually the very first one in a 13-book series, called The 13 Steps to Riches. I actually shared this story, but I shared it from another voice. And so I'm gonna do this. To set the stage for you, I'm sitting in my home office, plastered with paintings that my 2 kids, my monkeys, have made over the years. And my daughter, who at the time was a senior in high school, she's now a senior at Berkeley. And she walked into my room and she sat down in the chair next to me. And she said, here, Dad, I want you to read this. And I didn't have any idea what it was. So it was a speech contest essay, as I come to learn as I read the top of it. And it's entitled Live to Inspire. So I'm going to read this to you. I have yet to get through this without breaking down, so just bear with me as I do. So this story about to be told is about an extraordinary man, now 42 years young, who's accepted all the obstacles life had to throw at him. Now, I know you may be thinking that everyone has different obstacles they just overcome throughout their lifetime. So how is he different from you and I? What makes this particular man different from you and I is the tactics he used when faced with these obstacles. What makes him different from you and I is that he took these obstacles and used them to help make a difference and inspire others to never let life get in the way of their greatness and achievements. What makes any one of us different from everyone else is not the obstacles life throws at us, but what we do when faced with these obstacles. Will you choose to accept defeat or choose to persevere? On May 13th, 1975, a child was born at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, California. And this child was born 3 months prematurely, weighing 1.5 pounds. During the 1980s, he was diagnosed with a neurological disorder called Tourette syndrome, which is a type of tic disorder characterized by involuntary, repetitive movements and vocalizations. And he went to various doctors who performed countless medical examinations to try and find a cure. Every doctor said the same thing. He's fine. He'll grow out of it. And one day in 5th grade, he stood up in front of his entire class and shared with them a letter of what Tourette syndrome was and what living with Tourette syndrome was like. A huge weight was lifted off his shoulders once he shared his story with his classmates, and it generated many supporters amongst friends, parents, and teachers. Finally, a specialist at UCLA told him that he would never be able to get rid of this disorder alone and suggested that he take a special drug called clonidine to help with his tics. Unfortunately, with this drug came horrible side effects, and he made a conscious decision to not take the pills after a few years to try and master his condition through focus and determination. After a while, the tics started to diminish, and for the most part, they went away. No one knows what life has in store for them. All we can do is live until we're forced to face an obstacle in which we must make a choice to overcome or accept defeat. With the experiences this boy had to face came a life lesson. With determination, perseverance, and support from others, anything can happen. Now at 42 years young, this man chooses to use his story to make a difference in others' lives by inspiring people in times of uncertainty. He implements the Rotary's motto, service before self, by finding the light in those who cannot find it in themselves and supporting them through their tough obstacles. He helps lift people's spirits and hopes in times of hopelessness and despair. He helps people turn their ideas and dreams into realities. He helps build people from the ground up in hopes that they too will one day share their stories with others. He makes a difference in the world each and every day, which inspires others to make a difference as well. Who, may you ask, is this man? Well, he is my father. Out of all the lives he's made the biggest difference in, I believe he's made the biggest difference in mine. He inspires me never to give up on what I believe in, to always do what makes me happy, but most importantly, to always live every day as if it were the last, because we're never guaranteed a tomorrow. As Gandhi once said, be the change you wish to see in the world. Making a difference in the lives of others is my dad's change. What will be yours? To say that I was completely taken aback by this was an understatement. before that moment, I had no idea that my daughter felt that way about me. And it, just like now, um, brought me to tears, and we hugged and cried together, um, and my heart smiled with pride as a father. And I chose to tell my story through my daughter's heart, because we're often blind to how our personal desire positively impacts those around us. Um, I think it's probably one of the most incredible gifts, any of you that are parents, one of the most incredible gifts that we can be given, uh, is when we hear something like that from one of our children. And like I said, she was a senior in high school at the time, so most kids that age are out doing their own thing. They're not talking about how their dad inspires them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful story. I mean, it really touches my heart when you actually sharing it. It. I, of course, I'm sure the way you actually felt it. We all felt all those emotions because I think when kids look at us, the way they want us to be, it's a completely different thing, and they see us that they want to be inspired, and I think you did it. I mean, see how much you have achieved, your accolades, your titles. And it's not only the titles and accolades, you are making difference in other people's life every day. You're living it every day, so thank you for
Mm.
doing that.
Thank you,
And
Amber.
we got some like amazing comments from the audience, like Aaron G. Brian Schulman has unique ability to draw us together and raise. Like, see that like all of these people who are sharing that what impact you have made in their life. This is amazing to see. And Nancy's, of course, it's good.
Well, Ambreen, I want to add to that. I think,
Sure.
coming from where I have, literally fighting for every breath to make it into this world as a miracle baby at a pound and a half that wasn't supposed to live, and then being diagnosed with a neurological disorder, as I mentioned, which is called Tourette syndrome, being the weird kid, dealing with adversity and bullying growing up. And I dealt with a lot of it. I was outcasted, a lot. And it wasn't just by kids, it was parents, it was teachers, because they didn't know. They thought it was something that was contagious. And it was hard. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it was hard. But I wanted to give out the opposite of the negative I had received by others around me. And don't get me wrong, I had tons of positivity around me, but sometimes I think, as we've all experienced, one negative can overshadow 1,000 positives. And I wanted to be a giver of good and positivity and love and light and strength and encouragement. And I know that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And I know that every breath I take is a gift, literally. And I know that I have, say this all the time, I have failed way more than I've succeeded in life and in business, and that I've learned from every step that I've taken. And I've got up every time and dusted myself off and kept going. And that is why I've succeeded no matter the outcome. And we talk about our home, LinkedIn, right? Which I'm celebrating 20 years this year, every day on the platform.
No.
Um, and I came to LinkedIn with a purpose to give out good to the universe. And that no matter how bad my day was, no matter what was happening to me, that I would give out good 365 days a year with the hopes to achieve my why. And my why is to inspire and impact one person a day. And so for me, it's been okay, if I can inspire and impact one person a day to chase after their dreams and know and feel and believe that they can accomplish anything, to get up one more time after they've fallen 50,000 times already and believe in themselves that they can get back up and they can go again, and that they are succeeding every time that they do that, regardless of achieving that goal, right? That they're looking out from the distance, not realizing that the falling actually is success. And if I can inspire and impact person to do the same for someone else, or put a smile on somebody's face when, for a brief moment during a time that they truly needed, or a laugh, or I can make someone feel good about themselves when they just don't. Or, if I can just do one of those things each day for one person, I have done my part as a human being to make the world a better place. And life has and continues and will continue to knock me down and throw me curveballs, and I'll just keep getting comfortable being uncomfortable as I have, because that's when we grow, that's when we learn, and that's when we evolve. But as it's funny, because when I was a baby, I was put in a lion's costume, and I remember later in life going, "Why a lion's costume?" It was like one of my first costumes or something, and the answer was, because you're a fighter. You literally fought for every breath to make it in this world. So, my wish is that everyone fights, everyone continues to fight, because we all matter, and we all have a voice, and we all have a story waiting to unfold, and a tribe that's out there to support you and support us in this incredible journey that we're on together. So I share all of this with you guys because I feel like it's important. A lot of times all we hear and see is where you started, Ambreen. It's
Yeah,
all of the accolades, right? But we don't hear the struggles of the journey, right?
yeah,
And I think, honestly, that's so much more important than the accolades, because it's the
absolutely.
struggle of the journey and the impact of that journey that inspires someone else to know that they can get through what they're getting through, right? Or that they can get through something that hasn't happened yet. Um, so that kind of takes you, just from a journey perspective, from the very beginning, right, forward, um, to the evolution. Um, you know, Tourette's was never anything that I talked about. It wasn't anything I wanted to talk about. Again, I looked at myself as weird and different, and I didn't see that as a good thing. That changed later in my life, and I'll talk about that, and the impact that's been made from LinkedIn Video, LinkedIn Live, because that's where that evolution took place for me, and when I
Yeah,
realized that I actually had a voice and a story, and that I mattered, and that by sharing that, I was inspiring other people to know the
yeah.
same and to do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I You shared so much of the struggles and vulnerability, because I think uh, these are the these are the things, like, people don't, as you say, they don't hear when they actually see the titles and accolades. But actually, these are the struggles that makes, and that actually contributes to the success. And they should know that, okay, everyone is vulnerable, everyone fails, everyone is weird, I would say, everyone is crazy, but they just need to accept it so they can grow further. So I would like to ask that, as you said, that, you it was very difficult for you and you had your struggles, but what kept you going during all, like, when you're facing all these struggles? It's easy to give up, and that's what, like, most of the people do. They look at the titles, they look at the people who are very successful, and when they keep on falling, when they keep on failing, and they keep on facing challenges, they give up. They give up way too soon. So what is something in you that kept you going, and what is the message that you would also give, that how people can actually keep going during those times?
Yeah, and it's just such a really good question, because we can get hit in so many ways in our life, right? Personally, professionally, and we grow through and it doesn't feel like that, by the way. We grow through all of these experiences, and I can tell you that I have so many times when I get hit, and it just consistently happens. You get hit, you keep falling, and you're sitting there going, why? Right? It's so natural to ask that question. Why do I keep getting hit? Why do I keep hit like a? Why am I a human punching bag, right? And why do I feel like it keeps happening over and over again? Sometimes the same things, right? And what I've learned to understand is that we're never given anything that we can't handle. I truly believe that. As hard as it may be when it happens, like the worst you could ever possibly feel, imagine, like you don't feel like you can go on. And yet, what you're given, that struggle, that challenge, is something that you're able to face. We don't know it in the moment. And it took me a long time to realize that. But when I did realize that, I stopped asking the question, why? And start realizing that, okay, you're telling me this is supposed to happen. All right. And it got to a point where I just started laughing and smiling and crying and going, okay, I'm just gonna get up and keep going. And that's what I had to do when I was a kid. I would come home from school crying because people would be making fun of me, and nobody liked me, and I didn't understand it. Um, and I just kept getting up and kept going. I guess so. I think the thing to remember is that doubt is something that we all face in our lives. Fear is something we all face in our lives. Uh, Bullying is something we all face in our lives. All the negatives. It's all of those things we face in our lives. And there's an analogy that I started to use many years ago with clients of mine, and I used to have, and it just because I happened to look at it, and it just kind of came out. I used to have a rubber band and like a piece of paper. I don't know if you were a kid, you'd take those things and like pull it back with the rubber band and see how far you could stretch it before it would break, and shoot it forward or with a paper clip or something, right? And so the analogy is that sometimes it feels like we keep getting pulled back further and further in the opposite direction of where we want to be going. And not unlike a rubber band stretched beyond its capacity, right? Life, business sometimes feels like it's going to snap right between our fingers. And, we have to remember that a rubber band, um, like a rubber band and a slingshot, right? That I was describing, it's pulling us back further and further, not holding us back, but to gain more power, exponentially propel us forward. So, you know, more times than not, we're focusing on why do we keep getting pulled back instead of realizing that we're getting pulled back to propel ourselves forward greater and further than we ever could have imagined. We don't realize it in the moment. So when you doubt yourself, take a deep breath, let it out, smile and offer gratitude for the moment, and know that what lies ahead will be better than you ever could have imagined. And always put good out into the universe to help others, no matter what you're going through. And know that, the next great chapter of the adventure in your journey is unfolding right before you, and you're exactly where you're meant to be. And when you get in that moment, by the way, just think of me on your shoulder here going, you're going to get through this. You've got this. You just have to keep going. Just get up. Just get up and keep going. And by the way, that's not easy. It's not easy. But if you put that positive rhetoric in your head, you don't have to know how. You just have to know that you have to keep getting up. Like, that's the most important thing. Just keep getting up every single time, and you are succeeding no matter what the outcome is.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. That, some first thing, as you mentioned, that if you summarize what you say, that, when things are going wrong, we just need to accept it rather than asking that why it's happening to me. So that is one thing. And once we accept it, then we need to realize the meaning of it, and then we follow it. Like, okay, this has happened. It's okay. There's no point of cursing on the circumstances or
Yeah.
lamenting on whatever is gone. It's basically just accept the situation, that it's okay, it has happened, and now you're stuck in the situation. We need to figure out that how you can get out of it. And
Yeah.
that's when basically you need to keep moving and try to find out. And I think there's one question here that yeah, this is it's Kimberly is asking, I think. Just a second. No, yeah, she's saying that no question why, but how I can keep going. I think you answered it. So
Yeah,
let me
Kimberly,
check.
I'll just add to it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so hard when you're in the moment. I know it is. Like, believe me, I know. It's happened to me so many times in my life. Um, Questioning the why is a very natural human response. It's what I was doing for a very long time. But you wind up getting to a point where it just keeps happening and you're like, okay, maybe I'm asking the wrong question. I don't, the why will come way further down the line, right? It'll come way further down the line. So the way to get you through that is okay, I get this is supposed to be, and I'm telling you, like, as horrible as it may be, gut wrenching, knee dropping, breathtaking, like you're on your last breath, like you just have to know that you'll get through that. But it's very common to say, now the next one after the why, like how can I keep going? Like how am I going to do? Look at the last couple of years we were going through together, right? This global pandemic, this coronavirus. I mean, I can't tell you how many days. I mean, I know people that are no longer with us from this
Yeah.
horrible thing that has impacted the entire world, you know? And many times there was that question, how can I keep going? Amongst so many of us, you know? But I will tell you, there's also a silver lining. I'm a glasses half full kind of guy. Sometimes it's hard to be that way. However, there's always a positive to every negative, right? Two negatives equal a positive. And so with the negative came a positive, which was so many people coming together, just like we're doing right now, right? A way for us digitally to come together and realizing that you're never alone. And that's another one. That's another one that took a long time for me to realize. That's why I became a bringer together of people, because I love people, love bringing people together. I know the impact it can have by bringing us together, because when you're feeling alone and you're with somebody else, well, in that moment, you're not alone anymore. Better yet, maybe you still feel alone, but you're alone with someone else who feels the same way you do. And that's relatable. And it makes us feel better knowing that we're not the only people that feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And I think that is why you do all these live shows and videos, right?
Yeah. It's interesting because and I've shared this journey through these 13 books. I mean, the first one was my
Okay.
daughter's story. The second one was my journey about LinkedIn videos. So
Okay.
as I shared, I've been on LinkedIn every day for the last 20 years, coming this December. And it's been the most life-changing, incredible journey I have ever experienced.
Mhm.
And any of you LinkedIn fam that have experienced LinkedIn video, that have experienced taking it from online to offline, it's like, Ambreen, if you and I were to meet in person, we'd be hugging for like 20 minutes, because it's like, it's family. And you would
Yeah.
never think that on a business social networking platform. But that's why years from now, we're going to come back and go, look at what we've done together. Us early adopters, and I will tell you, the platform changed when LinkedIn video came out, which was
Yeah.
about 5 years ago. And by the way, LinkedIn's 20-year anniversary, 20-year birthday is May 5th. And so when LinkedIn video launched, it changed everything. I've been a part of all the betas when it comes to features on the platform, especially the major ones. And it's video changed everything. There were people showing up with green hair that were 20 years younger than me, like could
Yeah.
be my kids, showing up real, raw, vulnerable, sharing stories from their hearts, stuff that you didn't, stories from their hearts. You didn't hear that on LinkedIn. People were showing up in their suits and their suits speak, talking about business. This was real and personal, and it hits you right here, talking about fears and failures, rape. I mean, gosh, stories you would sit here and go, wow, what's happening right now? This is incredible. And you were feeling their hearts and their stories, and you were with them, and you were inspired by, like, I was inspired by the stories that were being shared. You know, I was invited to be a part of LinkedIn Video in the alpha stages. And I remember seeing it pop on my phone and going, oh, there's no way. I'm not getting in front of the camera. What if my Tourette's come out?
Yeah.
Because the thing was, is nobody, I mean, it was such a rare few in my life that knew about that. You know, when I was in my younger years up in the teens, I was jumping up and down, somersaulting from room to room. I had these intense neck twitches, all these noises I would make, wrist flicking, and sometimes they would commingle. I mean, I was, you know, I was all over the place. And I again took medication, which helped, but the side effects, as I mentioned, were horrible. I found natural calming mechanism over the years that helped, like dancing and comedy and music. Been a musician my whole life. Anyway, I bring these up because they all translate to where we're going, and so I never talked about my Tourette's because I didn't want it to influence my life or business in a positive or a negative way. And so I get to LinkedIn Video, and it took me 5 months to muster up the bravery and courage to finally take the leap and hit record. And by the way, I was never the one on this side of the phone. It was always me recording my kids, right? Because I love taking pictures and video of them,
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of them. So 5 months, I'm sitting there, I'm waiting, and I finally muster up the courage through the support. And I was out there supporting. I mean, you know, it was a small collective of us that started LinkedIn Video, and I was out there supporting everyone because that's what I do. And there was a campaign that got started, which is the hashtag 5Videos campaign. So my dear friend Mike Morgan, Fahad. Oh my God, Fahad, what's your last name? Fahad, what's your last name?
Okay.
Fahad Mohammed and Goldie Shan. And the whole principle behind it was make 5 videos across 5 days, one a day. So
Okay.
consistency, challenge, you know, all the things, right? And remember, I had never done this before. So making one video, let alone 5, I was terrified.
Yeah.
But I was inspired by all these amazing humans showing up, right? So my very first video I knew was going to be, I'm going to share my story. And at that
Yeah.
time, in front of 500 million people, now there's almost 1 billion people on the platform. And there were about 1 million when I joined. So I made the video. I was sitting in my office that I described, kids' pictures on the wall, that stuff. I had my bags packed. I was going on a trip for 4 days. I'm like, could I make it any harder for myself, right? Because I was going to be in meetings all day, business meetings, and then business social meetings at night and all that. So anyway, I make the first video, and I'm terrified because, as you can imagine, I had never shared that story. So I'm sharing it with the world, with the business world. What's my boss going to think? What are my colleagues going to think? What are my
Yeah.
partners and customers and prospect? I mean, all the things you can imagine that would go through your head, right? I was
Yeah.
terrified, but I knew I had to do it. And so I did it. And for the very first time, I said, this is LinkedIn Video, which became a hallmark, if you will, to every video I've made with anyone I've been with. And I closed my window, my LinkedIn window, because I couldn't look at it. And then I came back and I'm like, I got to look at it. And all the love and support and encouragement that I got, words that you never would expect to hear on a business social
Yeah.
networking platform happen. And Ambreen, it changed my life. It changed my life. And for the very first time in my life, I did not look at myself as being weird and different in a bad way anymore. And I realized that by sharing my story, I was inspiring others, not because they had Tourette's. I was inspiring others that were going through their own journey to know that they can, to know that it's okay to be weird and different, to know that's a superpower, and to know that their gift and that they have a voice and they have a story and that they do matter, because I didn't think I did. I certainly didn't want to share it, but I realized by sharing it, it was inspiring and impacting people in a way that I never could have imagined.
Yeah.
And so That's powerful. I want to make in the next 4 videos over the course of a handful of days. I made them really, really like 1, 2 in the morning. I changed my clothes one night, made 2 videos so you wouldn't look like I made them in the same night. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that happens to you when you're starting out, right? You
Yeah.
overanalyze everything, right? And then at the end
Absolutely.
of that process, I wound up saying to the crew, I'm like, okay, I made my 5 videos. This is just really hard. Like, when does this get more comfortable and easy? And the answer was, you'll start to get a little bit less uncomfortable around 20 videos. And I'm going, I got to make 20 videos to feel a little bit less uncomfortable. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it happened. Like, I remember the 20th video. I was behind the scenes at one of my son. He's a musician. Uh, and they were in a parade, and I was behind the scenes making a video, whatever. And there's like horses and all sorts of stuff going by me. And I remember talking, and I remember saying, this is my 20th video. And I've made thousands of videos over the last 5 years on LinkedIn. But so it never gets easy.
Yeah.
You just have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, and you just have to start.
Yeah.
Um, so that video journey has literally taken me across the world doing keynotes, coming together with LinkedIn fam, meeting in person, collaborating, being known as the king of community on LinkedIn. I just started because, and my thing is too, is it was never about business. I never once talked.
Yeah.
I can count on probably 2 hands out of a couple thousand videos how many times I've ever talked about business.
Mm.
It was all just, hey, I want to get together with my friends and make videos. And we never knew what we were going to talk about. It was always just, all right, here we go. Oh, we're starting? Yeah, this is LinkedIn video. Okay. So, and we just kind of riffed. And it always
Yeah.
went the direction it was supposed to go, you know? And just in doing that, coming together, just being human and showing up and caring about one another and sharing stories, and having fun. Yeah, have fun. LinkedIn's a business social networking platform, but you know what? It's business is the last thing you should be digging into. It's just
Yeah.
about being human, and that's the road, Ambreen, that we have all paved. There
Yeah.
was this huge mountain LinkedIn built, right? And we had to carve through this thing with pickaxes in our hands and all these things, right? And flatten it down and pat it down. And then we had to lay cement, and we had to wait for it to dry. And then we had to paint it. And then we started to walk over it. And we created this bridge and road for everyone else to be able to follow, you know? And we broke the mold of what people thought you were supposed to do and created a place together where you could just be you. And that's amazing. And all the
Yeah.
people that have shown up
Absolutely.
to do just that, it's incredible. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
that's true. I mean, the way you actually said, especially the video making, it was so difficult for me when I actually started my first video. Seriously, it was so, to me personally, I say that I like to interact with the people like in person. So when I actually looked at the camera, look at myself, I
Yeah.
cannot even fake that,
Yes.
people say that, you need to think that you're talking to the friend, but actually I was looking at myself and it was so difficult. And you are 100% correct that it never gets easy.
I mean, I have the
Like,
same problem. Like, it's so
yeah,
natural. So I would always just say to people, okay, look, it's terrifying to stare at yourself. Flip your phone over so that you're looking at this side of your phone. Paste a picture here of somebody that makes you feel at ease, someone that you're comfortable with, your fur baby, your kid, your spouse, your best friend, your partner, whatever it is, right? And yeah, just imagine you're having a conversation with a friend right on the other side of the camera, not looking at yourself and looking at someone that makes you feel,
yeah,
comfortable. Then it makes things
yeah,
easier, right?
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So
So yeah, actually, I know we can keep talking about it for so long, and because your journey is so inspiring, and like your words are so like seriously touching the hearts. And like I said, oh my God, I can so much relate to what you're saying. And maybe like your journey is not that much different from mine, or maybe like lots of people who are listening to right now. So before I actually close the show, I also want to ask that what made you write those books? Like you've been like 9 times best-selling author. So first of all, what made you write the book? What is the basic message you wanted to give in this book?
I have to say, I mean, it's an honor and a privilege to be an author, and having the opportunity to share my story to inspire others has always been a goal of mine. The first time I found out I was a best-selling author, it was completely unexpected and exhilarating. And it's been a privilege to be named a number one best-selling author 9 times now, um, over the last year plus. And I think the thing is that it was all about impact for me. It was knowing that if this book gets into somebody's hands, right, and this is a 13 book series, 33 collaborative authors, so many amazing stories, right, and I'm honored just to be a part of that, but that our stories can positively impact somebody's life, one person, Ambreen,
Yeah.
one person, right. um that's what it was about for me, right? And it's immortalized. I mean, it's here. It's on every bookshelf. It's digital. It's audio. It's in the libraries. It's there, and that's it. What it is for me, is to know that those stories can impact one person's life, and
Yeah.
that transcends across all the mediums. Embreen, whether it's a
Absolutely.
book, whether it's a video that you make, whether it's a live stream, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a whatever it is, right? It's easy to get lost in the numbers.
Yeah.
It's not about the numbers. It's not about the likes. It's not
Exactly.
about the reactions. It's about the one-to-one impact. And the reality too is knowing that you may not hear from someone,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
But you have to know that there is one person's life that you are impacting every single time you show up in whatever way that is. And that's incredible. And that's a gift. It's a gift we all have. And it's a
Yeah.
gift we all have the ability to give and we have the ability to receive. So, um, I
Yeah,
just, yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Basically, it's not about creating impact. Is not about touching billions of people or millions of lives. Just doing it's just like if you can make an impact in only one person's life, I think
that's
you've
it.
done your work, and that's it. I mean, and that can actually create a ripple effect. Maybe
That's
that
it.
one person can actually create another impact through another person's life, and that's how it goes. So
It
that's
is.
really good. Yeah.
It is, Emery,
So
and that's what inspires me to keep going.
yeah,
Right, my
and
tribe.
to me exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
my tribe, and knowing that I'm making a positive impact in the life of another human, that we're all humans with a heartbeat and we're all living through the human experience, and it's knowing that we each make a difference in each other's lives, and the positive vibe tribe, so many of them that are showing up in the comments. I love all of you.
Yeah,
Made up of people around the world and from different cultures and religions and socioeconomic backgrounds with a wide range of varying experiences. And you know this is the other thing that's really important too, as we tie a knot on this, is that all of my content, live streams, videos, all of it's all been inspired by you, and it's all meant to lift and unburden people's hearts, and boost people's spirits and ease their minds and create connection, encourage collaboration, and build a family. And
yeah,
so just know that that's the part that matters the most. Just it's the human connection.
yeah,
Human
absolutely.
connection.
So okay, so what one last parting words would you say on this? Because I know I love talking to you, and I know we can go
And I know
on and
it's so late
on.
for you. It's so late for
Yeah,
you right now.
yeah, that's perfectly fine. I know, like I can handle it. But it's basically what I wanted to, I wanted to be here on the show, sharing your story, because I know that you can inspire. You are inspiring so many people, and of course, whoever is listening or whoever is either like watching live or playing it or replay it, so they may get more inspiration from you. So, what one message would you give to our audience today?
I want each and every one of you, and I want you to realize before I say this that I I had to learn this. Um, that each and every one of you has a voice, and that you have a story, and that you matter, and that your voice and your story has the ability and will positively affect and impact another human being's life by showing up, by being you, by sharing you. Just start.
Yeah,
Just start. And the voice part, I didn't know that until I jumped on video on LinkedIn, which was again just 5 years ago. my whole life before that, again, it changed forever at that point. So, um, yeah, that's it. You have a voice, you have a story, you matter, and you will impact someone else by sharing it. Whether you think you have a story that's impactful or not, and I am telling you, you do.
Yeah.
Share it, because it's not about you. It's about sharing that story that someone else needs to hear in that moment, that inspires and impacts them to know that they can.
Yeah, absolutely. Just take that step. A lot of people just keep delaying it. And that is what I think that is the mistake that they've been doing. And I can so much relate to you because when I started my LinkedIn journey, it was, I mean, my life changed after that. And it's been like only 2 to 3 years. But definitely it is way more different than I thought when I started it. So just take that step. And as Brian said, that it's not about you sharing your vulnerability or maybe your failures or mistake or success, whatever, but someone out there, maybe they're waiting to be heard, your story or whatever your message is, and you can impact them. So anyways, thanks a lot for everyone to join, and thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing wonderful insights today. Before we close the show, let us know that what is the right way to actually get in touch with you if someone wants to get in touch with you, take your help. What is the best medium?
Yeah, no, most definitely. You can go to voicerevive.com to learn more. You can always find me on LinkedIn. If you want to connect, please send me a personalized invite. If you don't know how to do that, you can go to my profile, or as we now have as a channel, hit the little three dots on your mobile, hit personalized invite, put a quick message and say, hey, I saw you talking with Ambreen on her show, talking about the art of creating influence. Would love to connect, because otherwise I won't see your message. There's so many messages in my inbox that don't have a message with it. So please do that. And yeah, and look, if you're all welcome to come join us on our 2 Global Award winning weekly live shows. They're in 120 countries and multiple platforms, including a couple smart TV networks. It's all about having fun. I will tell you, the underlying tone in terms of why these are created was also to help get people comfortable being uncomfortable on camera. You're not thinking in your head. You're literally just having a good time, coming together with people, lifting people's spirits, shining a light on others, and it's an incredible gift. So I do want to thank Nancy, Deborah, Aaron, Tim, Lydia. I'm just looking through the comments real quick because I see Yaragel, and if I mispronounce your name, please forgive me. Zico, Amjad. Let's see. Hang on here. Kimberly, Benavid. I want to say hi to you. Lydia, Flat Billy, Bill Bradford, I see you. Dota Muhammad, Madarima, wonderful to see you as well. Cletus, hang on, I'm just making sure I didn't miss anybody here because I don't want anyone to feel left out. I think, and I'm keeping scrolling here. You guys are incredible. I think that I got, yes, it looks like that I've gotten everybody. You were Fayaz, I see you as well. Dr. Fizzpop Giddy Pants, Dr. Noopy, I see you too. Salim, you as well. Nargis, you are all incredible. Maria Rouse, you are all absolutely incredible. The fact that you've taken your time to be with us today, wherever you are around the world, means the world to us. Christopher, see you as well. Thank you so much for all of you for taking your time and for being with us. Time is the most precious gift we have. So much love to each and every one of you. And again, Ambreen, I'm so honored to be able to spend the time with you. Thank you for reaching out, and thank you for the gift of you and all that you do to lift others.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for everyone who joined us. And seriously, I enjoyed the conversation a lot and I learned a lot from you. And I'm sure our audience must have learned a lot also. So thank you so much. It's wonderful. And whoever is now like watching us from anywhere, any part of the world, now it's time to say goodbye and have a great day.